Good morning. I'm just climbing up out of the Gravel Springs shelter area, which I had a tent site that was not the greatest, and actually the privy was disgusting. Not my favorite place that I've stayed, but guess what? It's the last northernmost shelter within the park. So today's a big day. At about 13.4-ish miles to Front Royal, Virginia, where I am gonna get a hostel, and tomorrow taking completely off. 0 miles tomorrow for ultra. So I am really feeling it. I think it's time. Another big milestone today. In about 5.7 miles, I will reach the 100-mile mark of my hike, which is huge for me. So if I keep track of my miles, I will stop and do a little celebratory video. Had great company at the shelter last night, and I did sleep really well once I got to sleep. So after yesterday's 14 and something, it looks like another hot one today. I'm taking my sweet time because I don't have to worry about getting into camp and doing all this stuff before dark. So I'm going to try to take my time, but at the same time I'm excited to get to, I'm going to Mountain Home Hostel and their B&B. They have a beautiful building. It's a Greek Revival house. And they have a hostel on one floor and a regular B&B in the upstairs. Big, beautiful dining room, parlor, and they have a little outbuilding that they use during their busy time for hikers. And it's literally, you walk right off the trail to it, which is nice. It's a little mole. Can you see? Are you blind? What are you doing? Having some breakfast? Are you playing shy? Rolling on by, nothing to see here. Can you see? Look at this little guy. I think he's playing dead. But he's alive. I saw him moving, unlike the mouse. I have no idea how far I've gone, but I do know that I just saw one of the most sweeping panoramic views. And I've seen quite a few in my 90-something miles here in the park. And I was so glad I took only a few steps off the trail. It wasn't a huge distance. And took a few minutes up there. And like most incredible things, hard to capture on photo and even video, but holy smokes. It was like the park's little parting gift. Really awesome. So that was my husband's and many hikers I've talked to suggestion. Take a few minutes for these small things, because those are the big things that you're going to remember. And I'm so happy I did. I'm the slowest one out of camp in the morning. I'm the slowest hiker so far of the group, and it's definitely, I'm fine with that. And sometimes I think if I wasn't, I would miss those kind of things. So I'm grateful for that. Anyway, when you're out here 9 or 10 hours a day with your own thoughts, you get a little sappy, but I guess that's the point, right? So, wow, that was amazing. I'm still thinking about it. It was like a half mile ago. So anyways, I'm going to enjoy some flat land here and make some progress towards Front Royal and try to get in some miles before the sun becomes brutal again. It's going to be a steamer today, I think. No, I didn't turn on the video to show you my super sexy headgear, but I'm going to tell you one thing. It feels good to have that sun off my neck and the side of my face. I have a lightweight long sleeve shirt I think I shared the other day, and so it was really hot yesterday. I had the sleeves rolled up, and I'd had a sunburn from the first couple days of when it was like 86. long story short, I got a little bit, very minor, but some sun poisoning on my forearms. So I'm not messing around with the sun. I'm at elevation. I'm in the south. And it just zaps so much energy out of you. So here I am. I was laughing because I look like Lawrence of Arabia, which reminded me of my absolute favorite trail name that I've heard, and I don't know this person, but I saw them with author credit in a AT guide. Trail name of Loins of Arabia. So if anyone knows Loins of Arabia, I would love to find out who this hiker is and meet them, because of all the names I've heard so far, that's my absolute favorite. So anyways, also I had my first, I'm gonna call it a mini, like super mini meltdown a while back on Mount Marshall. So mini meltdown on Mount Marshall sounds like a movie. I had put my phone back in my pocket and must have hit something, and long story short, the screen went into dark mode and a grayscale, and even the camera was, everything was looking great, and I'm like, I have no idea what's happening. And I had to wait till I got to the top to get internet access, and I looked around. I checked everything I thought of, nothing was working, and somehow like bedtime mode had been switched on, so I was able to get internet access, look up an article, and was able to fix it myself, which, you know, makes me feel a little better, but I still have no idea how it happened. So just have to be aware of what's going on out here. So I've gone, I think about 3.5 miles. I got, or not even, like 3.2, because I had to take so much time with my phone situation. It was bad, like I couldn't see the phone. I mean, not being able to take pictures is one thing, but I rely on it for my GPS app. I mean, obviously there's white blazes, I would make it where I'm going, but I just, you know, I feel more comfortable with the GPS. And whatever, so I fixed it, and I'll check in a bit further down the road, because in a couple more miles it's 100. Definitely gonna have a mini celebration for that. So I'll see you in a bit. 100 miles on foot. I did it. I made it this far. It's not a very glamorous spot, but I'm having a celebration for about 2 minutes, then back to work. Anyway, thanks for following me this far. I didn't know that I could do this. I'm doing it. I'm doing the thing. I'm doing the thing that scared the shit out of me, and I'm doing it, and I might not be doing it great, but I'm doing it. So whatever else this journey may bring along the way, 100, I am celebrating you. Taking a sit-down break in the shade on a tree stump, and there's a lovely PVC piped spring over there, and I got 2 bottles of cold spring water, and I'm gonna go ahead and filter it while I sit here in the kind of in the shade. Feels good to sit. So I have my clean water bottle at the bottom, which is Smart Water. I have my Sawyer Squeeze filter and my Hydro Blue carbon filter. It just makes the water taste a little bit better. And I just squeeze like so. And pretty soon I'm gonna have some cool, cold spring water. And I am gonna slug down about 1 liter of this, and then check the water sources going forward and see how much I have to carry with me to get to the next spot. Once you've had cold spring water, the tap water never tastes the same. Hey there, checking in after my water break and lunch. Well, not really lunch. I kind of eat little bits the whole way. I can't really sit down and eat. Although I kind of did at the waysides, and that made for a rough afternoon. So I kind of munch away all morning, but I did just have a power bar and about 1 liter of water with some electrolytes. Put a little pep back in my step. And I just got a text from the Michigan guys who finished their hike this morning. They had a car at a gap that's about a mile up ahead here. They left a long time ago, but they texted me and said they left me some trail magic up ahead. So I'm anxious and curious to see what it could be. So that's a little bit of motivation. Once I get there, I have still probably at least 6 miles or so, or 7 maybe, to the hostel. At this time of day and my pace right now, unless this terrain flattens out substantially or this wind picks up or something, I'm moving at a snail's pace. The reality is I could be hiking in the dark, but I have a headlamp and I don't have to get to camp and set up and do all these chores. I just have to get to a house and it's literally right off the trail, so I have no concerns about that. I'm going to do my best though to get there in daylight. I think I can now that I had that break. I gotta tell you, this morning sucked in terms of how I felt hiking. I was so hot and struggling on the uphills, and I think I just need a break. So I'm looking forward to that. But first, I got a few miles left to go, so let's do it. Okay, so I'm at Compton Gap, approaching the backcountry sign where my trail magic was to be. Oh my god, it's a can of beer. Dale's Pale Ale. It's not cold, but it's beer and it's carbonated and it's carbs. And yeah, I'm gonna drink it. Hey, thanks guys. Hey, Ultra on the trail. Today's beer shout out coming live from the trail. I have a butt ton of miles left to go for me to make it to the hostel. This is a Dale's Pale Ale, sitting warm in the sun because I am so slow. And the guys from Michigan, Bentley, John, Chris, thanks so much for leaving this for me as you pulled out of Compton Gap and ended your through hike of the Shenandoah National Park. Congrats, guys. And also thank you for this beer. It actually does not even taste bad. I am going to crush it and then crush the miles I have left into Front Royal and enjoy a bed and a shower tonight. So thanks again, guys. So I was pleasantly surprised to find when I looked at the GPS, I have 6 point something, like under 7 miles to the hostel. For some reason, I thought I was looking at like 8, 9. I don't know. I hadn't really looked at the mileage since yesterday, and I was just trying to plug through. And after this morning's rough start, I just, I was in the 1 foot in front of the other mode and didn't need to worry about mileage, just moving forward. So I have some renewed hope I'll make it there before dark. Even if I don't, it's still fine. So plan for tonight, I'm going to the Mountain Home Hostel, which I had stayed at last October during my section hike and had a great experience and wanted to visit them again. Lisa and Scott are wonderful. And tomorrow for my 0 day, I am going to be at the Stumble Inn Hostel. And Lisa and Scott had told me that they are friends with the owners, and so when I emailed Stumble Inn for a pickup at the road where the trail crosses the highway there, 522, they said, oh, if you're staying at Mountain Home, we can just come there and pick you up. Would you prefer that? I'm like, hell yeah. So they are going to pick me up at 8:45 after an amazing breakfast that Lisa and Scott put on, and I will go back to Stumble Inn, hopefully put my feet up for some time, do some planning. I have to tell my husband where to send my next box or what to put in it. It is going to Harper's Ferry, which time is a wasting. I have to make some decisions there, so I'll probably do that either tonight or early tomorrow so he can get it in the mail. And I do need to put my feet up. My left ankle is not barking, maybe just whining a little. A few days ago, I turned it, which isn't a big deal. I turn my ankles a lot, but I've been working on ankle strength and mobility a ton over the past year and made it through a super rocky ultramarathon with no issues. So I kept up my work, and actually when I tweaked it, like in the past, that would have been it, you know? But I turned it and I was like, uh-oh. And then I was like, oh my God, it's totally fine. Which it is. But after 14 miles yesterday and 13, soon to be 13 today, I can tell it just needs a day off. And the rest of me does too. Another milestone, I believe, although there's no real marking, but based on the GPS, I have exited the park, and there is a information on backcountry permits and that the Potomac Appalachian Trail Club maintains the AT through this park, which, by the way, thank you so much, guys. I met, I believe his name was Chuck, trail name Trout, and his dog doing some trail work. And with that, I have hiked the entire length of the Shenandoah National Park on the Appalachian Trail. And that's pretty huge, and it's a great way to almost wrap up the day. I have a few miles here until I'm done, but thanks, Shenandoahs. It was a wonderful welcome to the trail, and you'll always have a special place in my heart. Okay, false alarm. A few steps later, here is the actual park boundary. So it's in a lovely wooded area that smells like pine trees and Christmas. I'm about 1 mile from the hostel, well, exactly a mile, and back there I had to stop and take a break. I was dying of thirst, and I had to filter. I had water, dirty water, I had to filter. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm a mile plus from the hostel. But you know what? Sometimes taking 5 minutes off your feet, and just, even if it's like warm, gross water, at least it's water, would do a ton to get me up that final hill. There's one very rude hill in the middle of a fairly easy 3-mile section. And I didn't realize how tired I really was until I hit that hill. Whew. So it seems to be going downhill now, but I should be in the hostel shortly.